YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back a day away from the NBA draft. I'm here with Junior, and we're going to talk about the latest trade rumors surrounding the NBA draft, and not just involving just picks, but current NBA players, some big names too. So just these scenarios, we came up with 13 scenarios here, and I didn't really just take them out of the, just clear blue. They're kind of involved in the rumors going around. So I think a lot of them make sense. I'm not expecting a lot of these to happen, but I think they make sense here. So we'll get your guys' thoughts. It'd be pretty interesting to see if any of these happen. But maybe before getting into this, just the latest rumors that I've noticed that just really aren't trade rumors. I kind of what we thought. Zion's going 1, Ja Morant's going 2, RJ Barrett's going 3. That's pretty much locked in. Do you think that there's any chance it's anything other than that?
No, I think 1, 2, and 3 are set.
Yeah.
And I like myself some good rumors.
Yeah.
And this is where they start peaking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited I'm always excited for the draft. Who doesn't like a good draft, But this year, it's a really good class. Usually there's only a couple good players, and this year there's more than a couple, I think, that can contribute right away and make an impact. So I'm really looking forward to this draft, but then I'm kind of a little disappointed that we kind of know the top 3 picks already, but it's going to be a good one with some good trades, and some teams are going to get a lot better. Right before we get started, we will have 13 scenarios on screen with trade details. So right before we get started, we got a new...
I love that picture. I love it.
We got a new subscriber goal. This is the first time. I didn't know what to make it. We hit that 20K, and I thought, let's just do it. Let's double that 20K by 2020.
I think we can beat this.
I expect to go over it.
I think we can hit 40
By
way
2020.
quicker than that.
It is double. That's why it was tough to make a subscriber goal. But if you don't subscribe to our channel, we have daily sports content. We specialize in the NFL, and we will cover the NFL in season. Weekly picks, recaps, score predictions, full coverage of the NFL, and we got NBA coverage as well here for the draft and free agency. So if you don't subscribe, please do so. That'll help us out a bunch. Click that like button. That'd be much appreciated if you did that. Check out our Twitter, Instagram, links in the description for those. Let's go to trade scenario 1. You'll see the same team kind of pop up. I think the Pelicans, because that pick 4, are involved in a lot of these. I see the Bulls a lot in some trade scenarios, so I involve them in ours. And then the Celtics. I like some Celtics scenarios here because they have multiple picks. But the first one here is an interesting one. So I heard that I'm not saying it's 100% true, but I've heard the Pelicans... Well, obviously we knew that teams are calling them now that they have the 4th pick, but I heard they would be interested in trading it if they got a player like Bradley Beal. So they're kind of going to the Wizards looking for a guy like that. So since they're more looking at getting him, and it's not really the Wizards going to the Pelicans, and he's already a proven player, I think the Pelicans would have to give up a little more in the 4th round pick. I see the 2020 protected 1st round pick being involved too, because you look at what Anthony Davis went for. I know Bradley Beal's not as dominant as Anthony Davis, but he's really not that far off. Bradley Beal's a proven shooting guard, proven shooter, one of the better ones in basketball. So I think maybe a heavily protected 2020 1st round pick, but I think this makes sense. And we'll see if those rumors are true and it gets done. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Bradley Beal is very underrated. I think that a lot of people when you think Bradley Beal, you think he's a great shooter, but he can do so much more than just shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Defensively, he could go to the hoop.
He can move. Yeah, he could. I'm glad you brought that up because I went and saw a game this year, and I got to see Bradley Beal in person. And you watch a ton of games on TV, and you just think Bradley Beal is a shooter. He's got speed and quickness. He can do more, but he really can dribble, and he's got ridiculous quickness and speed. When you go see him in person, how good he is. And the Wizards, I remember in that game, had like everybody out besides him, and he really carried them. So he's a proven player, and he can do more than just shoot, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm. I think a trade like this is going to be something you're going to see the Pelicans kind of aim for and go for, whether that's Beal or not. They're going to try to go get established talent for that 4th pick. I think what you're seeing here is that the Pelicans are trying to almost make this process of getting Zion and being competitive happen faster.
Yeah.
Because they want to pair an established guy with him.
Yeah.
And then they're a target for free agents right after that.
Because so if the other option for them for shooting guard staying put at 4 would be Jarrett Culver. So not really proven. You know, we like his athleticism. I like him as a prospect. I like his potential. He did, I don't want to say struggled because he was still a really good player, but teams can slow him down a little bit. Actually, this guy who's also pictured slowed him down a little bit. So going against good defense like we'll see in the NBA. So he's not proven is what I'm getting at. And then if the Wizards got the 4th overall, got the 4th overall pick, I put DeAndre Hunter on here because I'm not guaranteeing this is who they would take if they had the 4th pick, but this is what I would do. This is what I think they would do because for so long they had that 1-2 backcourt with John Wall and Bradley Beal. They need everything else pretty much. They don't have Otto Porter anymore, and DeAndre Hunter brings kind of his shooting and a way better defense. So they've been lacking that, I think. But they also been lacking big men. Is there a big man worth the 4th pick? No. So I really think it would be Hunter. Maybe the future with John Wall isn't there for them, so maybe it would be a point guard, but I don't think so. I think DeAndre Hunter would be the pick. That's just kind of the scenario I had here.
No, I like this. I like the scenario. I think that if the Pelicans don't have that first pick, this they don't even think about this. Yeah. They just stay young, draft young, but because they're going to get debatably one of the best prospects ever in Zion, you can do this. Like you can do something like that. What kind of team in recent memory has had just the luxury of just shopping a 4th overall pick just for fun? They don't have to trade it. They can shop it for established talent.
And they got so much future now from the Lakers too.
Right.
That they can mess around. They can trade up and down in this draft, the next draft. It's ridiculous.
I think that I know this video is not about the Anthony Davis trade, but that trade was great for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Great.
Very smart of them too because they didn't care about like getting the unprotected picks like next year early on because they know the Lakers are gonna be good. Mm-hmm. I've always been confused on why teams just did that. Like went for the next year pick when it's gonna be a terrible pick and they should know it. But so smart on them. Next scenario, like I said, we got 13 total. You've seen one of them, and then we got another Pelicans one now with the Hawks. The Hawks have a bunch of picks. So with this one, a little tricky because there's so many picks going on with this one. No current players involved. So I had the Hawks now getting the Pelicans' 4th overall pick, and then the Pelicans are getting 8 and 10 overall. Even though they're getting 2 picks not that far from 4, the past has shown us there's a big difference between 4 and dropping down there. So the Pelicans will also get basically a swap of second rounders, 35 to 57, which is a pretty big swap, but it is only a second rounder. NBA second rounders haven't really worked out, but there's some really good ones over the past years. But the main part of this is the 4th pick going to the Hawks from the Pelicans, and the Pelicans getting 8 and 10. I've actually heard this with these picks involved is an actual realistic scenario here. Wow. And in this scenario, I also had the Hawks. I think they'd be interested in a guy like DeAndre Hunter. I think they need his defense, and I think he can score. I think that's something they can use there with Trae Young, but it could be multiple different guys. And then for the Pelicans, maybe they don't like what they see at 4. Maybe they really like Cameron Reddish. I think some teams will have Reddish above maybe a Jarrett Culver, who he's similar to. So maybe they know they can move back, still get Cam Reddish to play that shooting guard spot, which we know they're looking for with Holiday. Even though he's played point guard and shooting guard for them, going to be a free agent this upcoming weekend actually, and they know they're looking for a shooting guard obviously. So Reddish would make sense, and they get the 10th pick too. So they can add somebody else with that 10th pick, maybe a big man like Jackson Hayes or somebody like that. So I would like this deal for I guess mainly the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm. This is a crazy deal, and this would be almost like committing to the young talent. Yeah. And like the development of young talent, kind of on both ends. But the Hawks, I think the Hawks need to. If I'm the Hawks, I'm keeping my picks unless unless somebody, I don't know. If I'm the Hawks, I'm going to use my picks to trade up, but I don't know. If I'm the Hawks, you're in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like they've done pretty well, like drafting over the years. They got John Collins, so I think they can trust their process and keep the picks, like you said, and they may be able to like put a full starting lineup out there that's legit. So yeah, maybe they shouldn't do this, but a guy like DeAndre Hunter or Culver, whoever they can land there, could definitely help the team.
I'm excited to see. because now the more we're talking about it, the more I think that the Hawks are going to use their ammunition to kind of move around. So I'm excited to see exactly how they go about that.
Yeah, they actually have. We see 8 and 10 here. They actually have the 17th overall pick too.
Oh my God.
And they have that 35, which is involved there. They also have 41, 44. So they have all those picks.
They're doing something with that.
Oh, they have to. 44 actually went to the Heat recently, didn't it? Or did that? That trade actually just happened a little bit ago. Heat and Hawks. The Heat gathered another second-round pick from the Hawks, actually, for future. So the Hawks already made a move, and they have much more ammo to make another move. So something like this is definitely realistic. We'll see if it happens. The way they've been drafting, maybe they hang on to their picks, but there is a difference, I guess, between those top-tier guys, maybe in the top 4, then, even though they're still good guys, and then with the next 4 after the top 4. So we'll see. The next trade, like I said, the Pelicans at 4 is involved in a lot of these because that's pretty much where the rumors are at. Mm-hmm. This one is with the Chicago Bulls. So I actually got 2 current players involved. I got Zach Lavine going to the Pelicans. And then the Bulls have been involved in so many Lonzo Ball rumors, but the Pelicans just traded for him, so maybe the Bulls still want him. So they swap 4 and 7. So obviously the Pelicans get the better player in Zach Lavine over Lonzo Ball, but the Bulls are also moving up 3 picks. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is a lot in terms of value. So I think this is interesting because I've actually seen Zach Lavine involved in some trade rumors. I don't know if they do it. I know Bulls fans wouldn't be super happy because he was kind of their best player last year. I know Lauri Markkanen's the future, but maybe they really want Lonzo Ball. So I think this would be good for both teams. And why is because the Pelicans get their shooting guard there, a proven guy. Even though they lose a point guard, they get somewhat of a similar player in Kobe White, who maybe not too far off. So they get a 2-for-1 there without losing a pick. And then for the Bulls, they desperately need a point guard. They get the point guard, and they're able to get a guy like Jarrett Culver to replace Zach Lavine at pick 4. So I think it makes sense for both teams. As a Bulls fan, I don't know if I would 100% be down for trading Lavine, but I think it makes sense at the same time.
Right. I'm in the same boat you're in. I've seen his name pop up so much in these rumors, and I don't like it, but I think you're going to continue to see it because that's the Bulls' biggest asset in terms of what they can trade in the value. Like we discussed earlier, but like Chris Dunn, what are you going to trade? You'd like to trade him, but that's not happening.
There's another Bulls rumor in here too, and scenario, and I tried to involve Dunn in some of these, but from what I've heard is that they tested the market value for him, and his value right now is little to non-existent, which was kind of surprising, but at the same time, not really, because it's almost like he's went on the decline. And if anybody out there remembers, he fell on his face and got a concussion and knocked his teeth out. I think that actually messed with. That
was against the Warriors.
Yeah, because he doesn't drive anymore after that. It looks like he's scared to do anything. So I think that kind of hurt his play. That's kind of just a hot take, I guess. But yeah. So the Bulls looking for their point guard. They wanted Lonzo Ball. Maybe the Pelicans still really want him. Maybe they traded for him because they wanted him, but they definitely could have traded for him because he's value.
Yeah, because he's a throw into that trade that they can just shop. Yeah. I'd be curious to know exactly what their plans are with Lonzo, but
if this happened, it'd be crazy because the Pelicans just traded 2 things they got from the Lakers just in that trade.
Wow.
4th pick was from LA, and Lonzo Ball was from LA.
Mm-hmm. I think this kind of benefits both sides.
Yeah.
Kind of like we were talked about earlier with the Pelicans, kind of expedites their process, and then for the Bulls, it kind of you're pairing a pass first point guard with some young talent and some young bigs.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to the next trade scenario. Another Bulls one involving the Cavs in this one. So the most part, when the Bulls come up in trade rumors, it's actually involving Vanderbilt point guard Darius Garland. There's been rumors they promised him if he's there at their pick, they're taking him. But now all these reports coming out, he's not going to be there. The Knicks are doing a last-second workout, but they're still supposed to take R.J. Barrett. But they pick all the way up at 3. So if the Bulls want to make sure they get over the Suns, it seems like besides the obvious Grizzlies taking Ja Morant, besides that, it looks like the 2 teams that really need the point guard and really are going after the point guard and making it clear that that's their next step in progress is the Bulls and the Suns. And the Suns pick 6, the Bulls pick 7. So the Bulls want to hop them, and they need the Cavs to do that. So they hop right over them, and which could be used with the Pelicans too, but in that scenario, they got the point guard Lonzo Ball. So with this scenario, they actually get Darius Garland from what we've been hearing in the rumors. So this was tough to come up what the compensation would be because it's only 2 spots, and the Bulls do have a pretty high second-round pick. But again, second-round picks don't always work, so they throw in another 2020. But it actually could be more. Even though it's only 2 spots, they actually could give up more. But to me, bringing up Cam Reddish again, I can see him on the Cavs. I can see the Cavs liking him. And again, I'm pretty high on him. I think I got a feeling about him. I think he's going to be a much better pro than he was in his 1 year in college. I think it would be much better. So really only moving back 2 and then still getting a pretty high second-round pick this year and possibly next year. Could work out for the Cavs, but they could want more. And the Bulls land their point guard there.
I mean, I like this. I think that things are going to get real interesting depending on that 4th pick. Real interesting.
Yeah.
And depending on what happens there, you're going to see teams try to it's as soon as you start seeing players drop, the Cavs phone's going to start ringing off the hook, and somebody's going to make a move to jump. And somebody who wants a point guard, like you said, is going to jump here. This is the spot. And I like this deal. I like this deal for both ends. But yeah, it is tough to kind of gauge what exactly would need to be traded when it's all picks involved. But this is quite the haul to move up 2 spots. But I think it's what would be necessary.
Yeah, I think it could even be more.
Right.
Talking about the other team that needs a point guard is the Suns. They're in a really tricky spot because they're sitting at 6, and the teams ahead of them are the Cavs, obviously at 5, and the Pelicans at 4. So if you really want who you think, I heard they really like Kobe White, but it's for the most part, it seems like Darius Garland is the clear choice ahead of him. Obviously, John Morant's the best point guard. So if the Suns really want, let's just say their point guard, no matter who it is, do you trade up just because you fear the Bulls may hop you? That's a little, you may be giving up stuff that was unnecessary, you feel like. And the Cavs aren't taking a point guard because they took Colin Sexton last year. So it's almost like you feel like you have to sit put, and then you could have the Bulls hop you and steal your player. So it's a real tough situation for the Suns, a team that we thought may have the 1st or 2nd pick before the lottery too. So really tough situation for them. We'll have a trade scenario for them soon here. Another one with the Cavs, though. The Cavs, I keep having them trade back here 2 times here. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Most likely they could sit put and just take the best available player because it could be a really good one there. But the reason I have them trading back, I just think it's like a really, a really good spot because some of these teams like the Pacers, I don't know if they'll give up that much to come up with the Pelicans at 4. That Cavs might be that sweet spot. The Suns may want to stay put, possibly take their point guard depending on who's there. The Bulls wanted to trade up, not back. So the Cavs are the kind of that sweet spot there. They can get a haul here potentially because the Pacers want to trade up. That's been kind of confirmed. They want to trade up. I don't know who for 100%. That's kind of the mystery. But since they have the 18th overall pick, they're coming up to 5. They have to give up the next 2 first-rounders to the Cavs, which the Cavs in their situation I think are a great team to do that. They're because we see all these other teams that have been tanking and then have been a rebuild team. The Suns and the Bulls, they have talent on their team. They may want to win this year, so I don't know if they're a team that would want to do this. And there might be quick turnarounds for teams like at the top. The Grizzlies could turn it around pretty easy. The Pelicans, not necessarily were a terrible team or anything, but so pretty good haul for the Cavs here, but they do have to move back pretty far. If they did move all the way down there, I think if a guy like P.J. Washington from Kentucky was still there, could be gone. But it's that high motor, small forward they've been kind of missing that they can definitely use. And the Pacers, I think they need a point guard to facilitate, with Oladipo and Miles Turner, guys like that. And to me, I think Kobe White would be more of their guy. I think they would actually have Kobe White ahead of Darius Garland because Garland's more of that first point guard, and they have Oladipo for that. So that scoring guard that needs the ball. So Kobe White could facilitate a little better, so they could be interested in a guy like that.
I think this one is interesting just because the Pacers are going to be competitive. We know that. So these 2 first-rounders are not necessarily going to be high. I would say mid to
Mid
low.
to late, yeah.
And so that's what kind of feels like they almost might need to toss in more. That's what I don't know. Maybe that's tough really to say. It's tough because we don't know. Because Oladipo coming off his injury, we don't know when he's going to be 100%.
You think the East would get more competitive,
right? But so yeah, this is a tough one. I do like how the Cavs need to commit to this rebuild, and they need to commit to. If I think that if I'm them, I'm shopping this 5th pick to get draft capital somehow, some way. I'm doing it, and I cannot wait to see if a point guard like Garland, a point guard like somebody like that drops, and then one of these point guard needy teams are going to give them. They're going to get more than this for the pick. Guarantee somebody is going to offer them something crazy if there's point guards on the board at pick 5, which is going to be crazy.
Yeah, now I think about it, it could be even a 2022 first-round pick. But just to think some team won't have that first-round pick for that long, so it's tough to give up. Next trade here, we got the Suns. We got the Suns and the T-Wolves. Found this one interesting because there's rumors the T-Wolves want to trade up. I heard they want to come up to 4 at the Pelicans. I think there'll be a better offer somewhere for the Pelicans. The Pelicans will either stay put or get a better offer, like from the Bulls or from the Wizards, like basically what we talked about. So the T-Wolves may be able to come up to a spot like 6. Why would the Suns trade back? Well, I think if their point guard's gone, like that situation I talked about, they're in a tough spot. If the Bulls hop them, take their point guard, the Suns will be sitting there. They don't want to overdraft one because maybe they don't like the other one that's around that area. So they trade back. The T-Wolves come up. So interesting here. So they swap 6 for 11. And the Suns also get the T-Wolves 2021st. Even though it doesn't look like a big gap, 11-6, it is a pretty big gap in value in terms of talent. So the 2021st. And then 2 guys that could be available. Not really the both of them would go, but Tyus Jones or Dario Saric. I think one of them could be the option here. I was originally thinking Tyus Jones, but the Suns would probably be looking for a better point guard, so they may rather have a guy like Saric. And then if they trade back, they can get a point guard there from Virginia Tech. And then what was I saying? The T-Wolves get the 6th pick, Darius Garland, and then the Suns would get Nickeil Alexander-Walker there, who actually played a little shooting guard and can play point guard. But obviously I think the better talent here is Garland at 6. But that's if I think the only way the Suns make this deal is if we just don't know who's one on their board. Is it Kobe White or is it Garland? So one of them would have to be gone. Their number 1 on their board would have to be gone for them, I think, to do this deal. That's why this is a tricky one. I like this idea, but it's pretty tricky because, I think that's about the right compensation. But they may want to stay put and take the other point guard that's there. So it's tough to say.
I think they would almost need a player of higher caliber to do this trade. I think the 6 to 11 or the 11 to 6 jump.
More of a gap
than we may think. Obviously, this draft is very top heavy. And when I say top heavy, I mean through 10 would be solid talent. And
there's a drop off. You're saying
big drop off after that. So that's why the 11th pick is even more, I guess, valuable or less valuable. One of the two, depending on how the draft shakes out. But if I'm the Suns, I'm going to try to get a better player than this. I think that they can shop that pick and get a better player than either Tyus Jones or Saric.
Yeah, they could ask for more there. Could Andrew Wiggins be available? I mean, that would be a different story here.
I've heard rumors.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they trade him. They want to. It's weird because the T-Wolves want to come up to 4. But they're going to have to give up, I think, a lot more
if
than
they
go
think. To 4, Wiggins is going.
Yeah.
That's the only way that's happening.
It's weird.
And they've made it clear that Karl Anthony Towns is their guy.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't made a thing about...
They don't really have any other trade pieces that... Yeah.
No, there's nothing. They have nothing.
They're going to have to be Wiggins.
Yeah.
If they want to go up to 4. Interesting. Next trade scenario, the Flint Tropics get Ed Monix, and the Kentucky Colonels get a washing machine. That already happened, though.
That happened?
Yeah, that happened, actually.
Oh. Was this put in the ESPN trade machine?
Yeah, I think it went right in the washing machine.
Oh, did it check out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. All right, next one.
All right.
Well,
that's why we need to review these beforehand.
Yeah, I'm the only one reviewing them. So it's rumored the Knicks want to move on from Frank Ntilikina, just drafted in the lottery a couple years ago. He's actually looked pretty good, but he's been hurt constantly. It feels like so. I don't want maybe pretty good's too much. You know, he's been good. I almost said it again.
Decent at best.
Decent at best. Shown signs that he can be better, but he's been hurt. They want to move on from him. I guess maybe they have a lot of space, but clear more space because they want the big guy, the big time free agents. So the Hornets could be without a point guard. Kemba Walker could walk in free agency.
Ooh.
You like what I did there?
That was a good one.
They're looking for a late first. Don't think they get it. So there's 2 seconds that the Hornets have to offer possibly. So not a huge trade here, but I think it's something realistic.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see more of the Knicks get a little more interested in these trades post draft, because you're gonna see once rumors of free agents start getting tied to them, like how we're hearing with the Lakers now, trying to dump cap, and I think the Knicks, for some reason, they seem to think they're a free agency destination. I'm not sure why. They don't really have. I mean, there's better young teams that would be more of a destination in my eyes. But, yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. And I have a feeling that they're going to make some moves of some sort. And whether that's if it's in the draft, it's not going to be in free agency, and then vice versa. They're going to make moves in one or the other.
All right, next one. We got some Celtics ones, quite a few Celtics ones.
Here we go.
And there's rumors that they're kind of monitoring the Clint Capela situation because the Rockets haven't really come out and say they're trying to trade him, but they know he could be available. And Al Horford going to leave. They need a center. And Horford didn't really play his best basketball last year, so they may need a better one or a better big man. So they're keeping an eye on Capela. I mean, who could actually play the 4 or 5, in my opinion, so it can help them either way. And with a bunch of picks that they have, they could actually do this. Now, this was tough figuring out the compensation for this, and because the Celtics do have the 14th pick, that's their first pick, and they have the 20th and the 22nd, and they have a second rounder in there too that we involved right there, 51st. So why did I have the Rockets getting the 20th instead of the 14th? Because the Celtics are like kind of monitoring it. I don't think they're going to give up their first pick, which is the 14th pick. I think if they wanted to do that, I think it would have happened. I guess we still got a day to the draft. It still could happen, not ruling it out. And at the same time, the Rockets want to clear cap. You know, they want to sign big time free agents. The one we've been hearing about is Jimmy Butler. They want to get Jimmy Butler, but they were trying to trade Chris Paul to free some space. And I was actually going to involve Chris Paul in some of these trade scenarios, but the reports are that, and these sound legit, that teams don't want Chris Paul. They don't want to trade for him.
Good.
Mainly because of his contract, but he's not really the talent he used to be. He's not at all the talent he used to be, especially with that contract. So the Rockets probably have to give some stuff up for people to take Chris Paul. They're not really interested in that right now. So going back to why the 20th pick instead of the 14th, because maybe the Celtics know the Rockets may be a little desperate to clear some space, even though Capela's a good player. But he did get a good amount of money based off his playoff play in not this past playoffs, but the last year.
He just
ridiculous.
got paid.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So this year, not quite as good, but we see what he's capable of. So the Celtics get their big man, and they give up the 20th overall pick and then another second-round pick. And the second-round pick isn't guaranteed money, so the Rockets don't have to worry about that with their cap hit, and the 20th pick isn't a whole lot. So a guy like Cameron Johnson, who's actually rising up boards, I think would be a good small forward next to James Harden. It's probably a rotation player that can come in and shoot, because if they do get a guy like Jimmy Butler, he would start at small forward. But that's a guy to look out for in that range, but I'm hearing he's kind of rising up boards here.
I think this is a sad trade scenario, and I'm going to explain to you why. 2 playoff teams, I would say high-end playoff teams that are just imploding.
Yeah.
They're gonna blow it up, and it's something that is shocking, but I think it's going to happen.
I was about to say it seems like the Rockets might be in a better situation to keep their playoff status because they're going to get it done. They're going to clear some space, and they're going to get a guy like Jimmy Butler or whoever it is. So the guy like that with James Harden is going to be they're going to be back. And the Celtics losing Al Horford, it sounds like they're going to lose Kyrie Irving. They're just on the fall, but at the same time they got really young. I'm really high on Tatum. I think he's a heck of a player this year, and they still have some other talent. So maybe their young talent steps up, and with their draft picks here and what they're able to do, I have a feeling both teams will be okay. They're not going to go win the NBA Finals, I don't think. But.
No, but it's so interesting. Like, why shake it up? Why shake it up so drastically? And then we're going to get into this with these multiple Celtics rumors coming up, but I just don't know why they're panicking. They're panicking because they're losing Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And that's not even a for sure, and they're already panicking.
Well, they know more than we know. I think Kyrie Irving's gone. I think he's gone.
I think he's good as gone too, but it's like at this moment, nobody really knows. Maybe they know for sure, but they're panicking. And what is it? Oh no, go trade for Capela. Like, if I'm the Rockets, I think they can get more.
Yeah.
I think that they had the 22nd, you can throw that one in there as well. Like, they could, like you said, it's going to be this, if this happens or a trade like this happens, they're going to gauge which team is more desperate, because one of them is going to be.
Yeah. I don't know if the Rockets want too many first round picks, because again, they want to, it's not a whole bunch of cap hits, but they want to clear as much space as they possibly can. So I think one first round pick, maybe they would ask for that higher one, but we'll see. I got a few Celtics trade scenarios because interesting team, because who they're losing in free agency possibly, and because of the picks they already have for ammo. So the next one is just involving picks. Like we mentioned, they are going to lose Al Horford, and he didn't play his best basketball. So they're looking for a big man that can grow with their other young talent, like shooters and guys that can take up the ball, control the game. So a guy like Jackson Hayes, kind of known as the better big man in this range of the draft. Probably the best center in the draft. Bol, if he could stay healthy, which is a concern. He could be the best, but looks like Hayes from Texas is the safest choice, and that's about his range, around that 9 range. So we're going back to another Wizards scenario, and the Wizards could use a guy like Hayes, and the Wizards could use another guy, any other of those guys that have the talent to go 9th overall. But this is why I like this one a lot, because I already kind of explained why it makes sense for the Celtics, because they need their big man and they have the ammo to do it. They need the big man of the future. Hayes could be that. But why I really like this for the Wizards just haven't been able to. They've had good years, but they haven't, which we kind of talked in this a little bit, but they haven't been able to take that next step because they've only really had John Wall and Bradley Beal. They've never had a complete team. And they've actually beat teams and battled with teams that have more of a complete team because of the talent of John Wall and Bradley Beal. So picking once at pick 9 could add another good player with them. Not going to change a whole bunch of things. Not going to change a whole bunch to their problem, fix their problem. So if they add the 14th pick, the 20th pick, and then a future pick protected, because that would be the 3rd first rounder, then they're putting together a lineup if they draft right, which they are looking for a new person to take over there. So this makes a lot of sense for both teams to me. This is something the Wizards, I strongly recommend they do, unless somebody ridiculous somehow falls to pick 9. But they could sit at 9 and take Hayes, like I said, too, because they've been lacking that big man. But it seems like they've been lacking. I don't want to, Otto Porter was pretty solid, but they've been lacking pretty much power forward center. They've been lacking other play besides John Wall and Bradley Beal, is what I'm getting at. So they need more talent in that starting lineup. If they did trade back, I got a guy like Brandon Clark from Gonzaga, who I like a lot. I got him on the top 10 of my big board. I think a little risky because does this game transition to the NBA, but he can do it all. He's not the best shooter, but he can do it all. And he can play that 3 or 4 spot, can move around, can come off the bench and different positions, like I said. So I think he can help that team a lot. And brings great defense and rebounding to the floor too. So I like him a lot for the Wizards. Will he be there at 14? That's the next question. But what are your thoughts on that scenario?
I like it for the Wizards. I think that they need to almost not commit to a rebuild, because they're not rebuilding. It's more of like a young talent reload to pair with, or to group with their I would say, good backcourt. Their backcourt is good. If healthy, their backcourt is good, probably better than good. And I just think that they need to stop holding on and trying to go get vets like a Dwight Howard. That's not going to take you anywhere. I think they need to draft young, draft correctly. Like you said, this only works if they draft correctly and they find just a group of guys to bring in young talent that their play is only going to be elevated by John Wall and Bradley Beal. If I'm the Wizards, I would do this in a heartbeat. I would do it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for both teams here. One more Celtics deal, which was kind of your idea. I just kind of put the finishing touches on it, but I like it a lot. I like what we did here. So Whiteside could become available, and then Jaylen Brown could be available. And Jaylen Brown was going to be a part of the Lakers trade. So maybe that's why he's kind of being brought up. Maybe they don't necessarily want to trade him, but he can be dealt for. We know that. We know Tatum is the reason that trade didn't happen for Anthony Davis, is because he's off limits. So, and the Celtics, going back to, they need a center. They're going to lose Al Horford. So they trade player for player. Hassan, Whiteside, Jaylen Brown. Whiteside he's a good center. There's not too many of them in the NBA, so he's a good center, but maybe a bigger contract than you would like. So Jaylen Brown, and he being younger, is more valuable. Not way more, but he's definitely more valuable. So then they swap picks, which I liked here. They were able to do this because of the amount of picks the Celtics had. So now the Celtics actually have the 13th pick and the 14th pick, and it's on Whiteside. So the Heat don't take their 14th picks. It's only a one different swap. Wasn't enough for me. The Heat take the Celtics' 20th pick. So the Celtics get their big man. They lose a key part of the future, I guess you could say, in Jaylen Brown, but we know he can be dealt for. The Heat, they got some guys that can shoot too, in the backcourt, but Jaylen Brown, you get better right there. And they kind of made it known they could be looking for their future center, and they could want to move Whiteside. So a guy like Kevin Porter Jr. is this is where I really like this trade. Not only the pieces and how it works so well, it made sense, but these players, mainly Kevin Porter Jr., that's another recent rumor. Porter Jr. is a shooting guard. He's 6'6", but there's reports that NBA teams, after working him out, actually like him as one of those bigger point guards. They like his ability to take up the ball and kind of read the floor. And so this kind of helps them in two ways. While getting Hassan Whiteside, their center, which they need, and they're losing Jaylen Brown while doing this. So they get Kevin Porter Jr., who can play shooting guard. But they also possibly get that new school type point guard, which they could use because Kyrie Irving could be walking, and Rozier is a free agent, who I think they can get back. So he makes a lot of sense on the Celtics. Another player that didn't have the best stats in college, but you can see he's a good player. Another one of those players I got a good feeling on, kind of like Cam Reddish, and I like the idea of him playing point guard. And then the Heat get a very good young talent, Jaylen Brown. He still has upside, so they get a really good player, and they really cut cap there, so they can make more moves in free agency. It's pretty appealing now with a guy like Jaylen Brown, and you have cap room to pay people, and you get a guy like Bruno Fernando from Maryland, who I like a lot. I like his game a lot. That's probably his range, somewhere down there. So it's a good Hassan Whiteside replacement. He's not Hassan Whiteside, but it's a good replacement there if you get a guy like that at pick 20. So not saying this will happen. It's kind of a long shot with this scenario, but I like it a lot. It felt right.
This isn't, like you said, a long shot, but this makes so much sense for both sides.
Yeah. And
going back to one of our previous rumors for the Celtics, this is a cheaper option than Capela for the Celtics. I think it's a cheaper option. They get a pick out of it, and because obviously Jaylen Brown, like you said, his value is higher just because he's the contract of Whiteside and younger. But that's like this trade is in my eyes. This is a pretty even trade. Helps out two teams, their needs, what they've been rumored and linked to have being interested in. So I don't know. I like this. I would do it. I would do it if I'm the Celtics and I need that big. Whiteside is not necessarily old. He's not washed. He's none of the above. He's just somebody who just is just going through the motions in Miami. And I think a change of scenery, if Whiteside gets dealt, you're going to see his numbers spike again. Yeah, and that's what he needs.
The only downside to this is the Celtics, taking some pretty good cap, I guess, with Whiteside, and they do want to sign the big-time free agents, maybe to make it more appealing for Kyrie Irving, but even if they don't want to do it for Kyrie Irving, to just make them better, So you could say they maybe won't have as much cap room, which is true. But at the same time, Kyrie Irving, they don't have to pay him if he's walking. Rozier's a free agent, so they're not paying both of those guys. Al Horford, they're not paying him. And they're trading Jaylen Brown, even though it's not a whole bunch of money. It helps, even though it's hard to see a guy like that go. So they still have some space to sign some other guys too, and they get a good player in Porter Jr. there. 2 more trades, maybe not the most appealing trades, but they need to be done. Very realistic trades.
They need to.
They need to be done because they may happen. So the Bucks, they're gonna dump. They're gonna dump.
Oh, that's the picture. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dump.
Okay.
Because they have the 30th overall pick, and it's been known they're trying to move that, and it's been known they're trying to move guys like Ersan Ilyasova and Tony Snell because they want to clear that space. Because Chris Middleton opted out of the rest of that deal because he can get more money. He's a smart man. He's a good player.
Very smart man.
The Bucks want to get him back, or maybe not. Maybe they want to even get a better player, or maybe him and another really good player. Because what mode are they in right now? They're winning the championship.
Wait, no. Yeah, but what's their biggest need?
Their biggest need?
Biggest need. If you had to say their biggest need, what they struggled in the playoffs, and what they need to do.
Shooting.
Shooting. They need shooting. And I think Middleton should be a priority because he was debatably, not even debatably, he's your best shooter. He's their best shooter.
Yeah.
And he needs to be re-signed. So I think, like you said, dumping is the way to go. If I'm Milwaukee, I think that's what you got to do.
So they're able to dump Ilyasova. I think Tony Snell will be very hard to dump because Ilyasova can give you some good minutes still.
Yeah.
The Kings made the most sense. I was trying to think what team would be not willing to do this because you do get a first round pick out of this. It's the last first round pick. The Kings don't have a first round pick, which I think they need. So they're gonna want to jump in there and they're gonna want to get in there. Mm-hmm. And get their first round pick. So they do so here. They do take in some cap, which they can afford to do. The Bucks get one of the 3 Kings second round picks, the middle one there, which again, the second round picks don't have any guaranteed money. So for the Bucks, they clear space, and if they have to pay this guy, that means he's good. So it's a win situation. So the Kings, they choose what they want to do with Ilyasova. They get the 30th overall pick. I guess they've been getting some good young pieces. De'Aaron Fox, I like his game, and then Buddy Hield, I like his game as well. And they got Marvin Bagley. So a guy I think made a lot of sense if he's there. I've heard he's actually could drop a little further than I think he should. Is Grant Williams, the small forward / power forward from Tennessee there, because I think he plays small forward. Some people listen at power forward. I like his game at small forward. He can actually take the ball up, which they don't need him to do. He's a high motor guy, can do multiple things. I think he's good at that small forward spot after De'Aaron Fox and at point guard, and then Buddy Hield at small forward there, or shooting guard, and then Grant Williams at small forward. So, and they got Bagley, and they got Willie Cauley-Stein.
That's a lineup. That's a good young lineup.
Yeah. So I think it made sense for them. And another one that there's some dumping going on. The Lakers are trying to move some the last few players. I don't know if any of them really teams will be takers for, except for Mo Wagner, which a team like the Raptors, who have the second to last pick in the whole draft, and they could use future bigs, and that's what Mo Wagner is. He's a high motor guy. I mean, he could be part of the future. Mm-hmm. And so the Lakers get that very late second round pick that probably won't make the team. So they're just dumping cap so they can make room for another big signing in free agency, which they've been, made well known. Like that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I think we're going to see them dump more than this. But this is their game plan. They're dumping.
So there it is, 13 scenarios. Let me know your guys' thoughts on any of them. If you have any, that'd be great to see in the comments. Yeah.
Bam.
Click that button right there. That's the subscribe button. If you don't subscribe to the channel, it'd be much appreciated if you did so, because we got daily sports videos. So
and we love our subscribers.
Daily sports videos, NFL, NBA, we got it all. Got some past videos, recent videos on your left. Check those out. But that's going to do it for this one. More NBA content for agencies right around the corner. But I'm excited for this draft. This draft's going to be real good. A lot of good talent, more talent than usual, and a lot of big storylines, a lot of big players, trade scenarios like we talked about could happen. So pretty excited. Can't wait. We got you covered for it. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.